I'm Prithiyatri, you're watching TimesXP and welcome to the top US news today. If you want to travel to the United States, here is something which is very important that you need to know. The United States Embassy in Ghana has issued a fresh, serious warning to all the visa applicants. Do not use any fixer, agent, or any middleman to apply for a US visa. These so-called helpers may promise to get you a visa, but in reality, they cannot guarantee anything, and trusting them might ruin your chances forever. Well, after this warning, Indians can definitely learn. According to the embassy, the only safe and correct way to apply for a US visa is through the official US government website. There is no extra charges for doing this yourself, and you don't need to contact any consultant or any type of agent to help you. In fact, using these third-party fixer can expose you to fraud, and if they submit fake documents or false information on your behalf, you could face a lifetime ban from entering the United States. But the question is, why is this warning coming now? Well, reports say that Ghana is one of the 36 countries under review by the United States government. A leaked document, apparently signed by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, says that Ghana and other countries have been given 60 days to meet new visa travel rules or face possible sanctions such as stricter visa rules or even travel ban. Well, the US is specifically worried about things like fake identities and too many people who are overstaying their visas. These visas have caused problems in the past, and now the government is watching very closely. However, this does not mean that people in Ghana are banned from traveling the US. On June 14, 2025, a powerful wave of protests swept across the United States. While it was officially Donald Trump's 79th birthday, millions of Americans chose that particular day to march in opposition to what they say are dangerous, authoritarian policies being pushed by none other than United States President Donald Trump. The nationwide demonstration was called No Kings, a title chosen to emphasize that the United States is a democracy, not a monarchy, and no one man should have the power to uncheck it. What made this protest specifically remarkable was not only its message, but also its sheer size. Organized by the Political Action Group, individuals, and supported by organizations like Move On and the American Civil Liberties Union, the protest is now being called the largest in the US history. It spreads across 50 states and took place in over 2,100 cities. By some estimates, between 4 to 6 million people joined it, about 1 to 2% of the US population. Among those millions were thousands from Indian diaspora as well. In San Jose, California, Maya Ram, the United States-born daughter of Indian immigrant, marched alongside nearly 12,000 protesters. She said that being surrounded by so many people who shared the same concern helped her feel little less alone. Further south, in Santa Monica, another man named Tahir Hassan Ali, he is an Indian American, decided to march even though he feared backlash from the US authorities. Let me quote what he said. "This isn't just about me. It's about protecting our community and the future of democracy." Indian American participation wasn't limited to California, by the way. In cities like Chicago, Houston, Seattle, and New York, Indian students, tech workers, doctors, and business owners joined the demonstration. In Edison, New Jersey, home to one of the largest Indian population in the US, families turned out with placards reading "No Kings, Desis for Democracy," and "We left monarchies behind." In Atlanta, Georgia, Sikh community leaders held very peaceful rallies at local gurdwaras, while in Fremont, California, South Asian youth groups organized poetry readings and flash mobs calling for justice and unity. Many Indian immigrants say that they are specifically alarmed by Trump's immigration plans, which include large-scale deportations, visa rollbacks, and new rules that could make it harder for legal immigrants, including highly skilled workers and their entire families, to stay in the United States. There's a person named Ravi Suresh. He said that my father came here on an H1B. Ravi is a college student who marched in Boston. He further said that if these policies were in place, then I wouldn't even be here today. Despite the enormous turnout, Trump's team tried to downplay the protest. His communications director claimed that 250,000 people attended his birthday parade in Washington, D.C. and labeled the protest as complete failure. But independent experts and researchers, including those from Harvard and the University of Connecticut, confirmed that the protest figures were in millions. In fact, the No King marches have now surpassed even the famous Women's March of 2017, making this the biggest protest movement in the US history. Lately, many Indian workers trying to get H1B visas from countries outside India like Kenya are running into a strange problem. Well, when they try to book appointments at the US Embassy in Nairobi, they find nothing that is available. No dates, no updates, no waiting list. And this isn't just for a few days or weeks. There are no appointments at all, even after people finish the full application process and pay the visa fee. Well, this issue is specifically confusing because Kenya is not on any US visa ban list. Recently, the US government did stop some visa services for certain countries because of national security concern. But Kenya is not one of those countries. So, why are H1B appointments blocked over there? Now, for Indian applicants, this isn't a very small hiccup. Many turn to third country consulates like Nairobi, Kathmandu, or Abu Dhabi because the US visa appointments in India are often full booked for months. Now, these third country locations were just a popular plan B to save time. In fact, applying in places like Kenya becomes quite common, specifically among H1B visa holders looking for quicker processing while on visits back home. However, now even those backup plans are suddenly shut down without any explanation. Well, the problem isn't limited to Kenya, by the way. Online forums and social media groups have seen people report the same issue in countries like Nepal, Vietnam, and even the UAE. People are calling it silent freeze. No official announcements, just no appointments. Even when users complete the DS-160 form, pay the fee, and log into the visa appointment system, they hit a dead end. No confirmation email, no scheduled options, no help, just silence. Now, this is specifically tough for skilled Indian professionals who already have approved H1B petitions from the US employers. Some are already working in the US and need to get their visa stamped before their travel. Others are first-time applicants trying to move abroad for work. Now, for both, this roadblock means lost job opportunities, missed start dates, and wasted money on flights and other documents. You know what's frustrating is the lack of transparency. If something is wrong, like a system update, technical error, or even a hidden policy change, why not just say so? The silence from the US embassies have left thousands guessing with no way to plan their careers or their lives. Well, this isn't about expecting any special treatment. It's about having a fair and clear process. People are spending lakhs of rupees and months of efforts trying to follow all the rules. But when safe countries like Kenya suddenly stop showing appointments with no explanation, it creates a lot of stress, confusion, and distrust. A shocking incident unfolded in Mumbai recently when a 23-year-old student from Parel, Siddharth Bhansali, was arrested after allegedly threatening the US consulate. The reason? His US student visa had been denied, and in a moment of anger and emotional distress, he made a threatening phone call to the American consulate office located in the city. It all happened on a quiet Sunday when consulate officials received a disturbing phone call from somebody speaking in Hindi. The voice on the line threatened that there would be consequences at the US consulate. Before anybody could respond, the caller abruptly hung up. Alarmed by the threat, the officers immediately contacted the local authorities. The police quickly traced the phone call and identified the caller as Siddharth, a student who had recently been upset over his student visa rejection. According to officers at the Bandra Kurla Complex police station, Siddharth appeared to be mentally disturbed and emotionally affected by the denial of his application. He was extremely dejected and frustrated about not getting the visa, and that's what pushed him to make such a threat. That's what police shared. After being located and taken into custody, Siddharth was questioned and later released with a notice, as the officers believed that he wasn't a genuine threat, but he was rather somebody acting out of emotional turmoil. Still, the incident has raised serious concern about how visa rejection can actually affect young applicants, specifically when they pin all their hopes on studying abroad. Interestingly, this wasn't the only threat that was received over the weekend. Just days before, two well-known international schools in Mumbai only received alarming emails warning of possible explosion. These emails mentioned that it would happen and it was linked to justice in a case in Hyderabad. Thankfully, after thorough checks and investigation, the police declared both of these threats as fake. However, the back-to-back scares have put the city authorities on high alert. Investigators are now trying to determine if the school emails and the consulate calls are actually connected in any way possible. They are also working to understand the psychological impact of visa rejection, specifically on young minds already under a lot of stress. While no harm was done, the episode serves as a reminder of how vulnerable some students have become when their dreams face unexpected roadblocks. It also underlines the importance of mental health support and guidance for students dealing with rejections. Imagine getting a job offer in the United States while on a tourist visa called a B2 visa after months of struggle. Well, the company tells you not to worry, they'll fill a H1B visa for you so you can work legally. They even ask you to move to another state for an in-office role. You say yes. Hopefully, you pack your bags, find a new place to live, pay your rent, and make the move. But now, just 2 weeks before your legal stay on the B2 visa ends, there's still no sign that the company has actually filled your H1B visa paperwork. Every time you ask the company or their lawyer, well, they give you very vague replies. Even when you say that you are willing to pay extra for premium processing, a faster option, they stay quiet. The company hasn't taken back the job offer yet, but they also haven't done anything to protect your status, and now you're just stuck. If your B2 visa expires and no H1B petition has been submitted, you'll be considered out of status, which means that you are now in the US illegally. You could try applying to extend your B2 visa, but there's no guarantee it will be approved, and the time is quietly running out. In this situation, many people face a tough decision: stay and risk violating immigration law, or to leave the country before the visa ends, hoping the company eventually files the H1B and goes through the consular processing. But there is no certainty. Without proper paperwork, everything depends on trust, and unfortunately, in some cases, it's often the immigrant who pays the price when things go wrong. This is not just one person's story, by the way, it's the reality for many hopeful workers who come to the US, believe in promises, and find themselves caught between legal timelines. Imagine an American-style town. Big homes, wide roads, clean parks, and peaceful neighborhoods built right here in India. Well, that's the dream of one NRI who was living in the United States for over 12 years, shared online, and it has quickly gone viral, making people both curious and amused. The NRI, clearly tired of long visa wait times, anti-immigrant views, and the never-ending green card backlog in the US, came up with a bold idea. Instead of continuing to beg for entry into the US, he proposed that Indians abroad unite and create their own American-style city, not in the US but in India itself. He said that let's take control of our lives. We can absolutely do it. In his plan, the city would begin small, just 1 square kilometers of land, enough to house about 250 families. But these wouldn't be regular houses. They'd be modern homes on large plots, similar to those in upscale American suburbs like Texas. He imagined every single house having about 10,000 square feet of land, just like listings you'd see in a website like Zillow. The first phase would have about 1,000 people, like a small village, and over time he hoped that it would grow into a full city with 50,000 residents spread across different parts of India. The idea was quite ambitious, no doubt. And while some people online supported it, saying that they'd be thinking the same, most found it hilarious. Well, social media quickly flooded with comments poking fun at how unrealistic the plans sounded. One person joked, "You either fell on your head as a kid or you have totally lost touch with reality." Another one said, "Tell me you have never owned land in India without telling me you have never owned a land in India." Critics were also quick to point out that infrastructure alone can't make India feel like the US. It's not just about roads and houses. Well, the culture, behavior, and civic sense are very, very different. Indians want to live in India, but they don't like the Indian way of living. That's kind of ironic. Still, the post sparked a lot of controversy but real conversation. Can NRIs really bring back what they love about the West and plant it on Indian soil? Some felt that it was just a dream for wealthy, while others believed that it showed the growing frustration of Indian professionals who are stuck in long immigration queues that are there abroad. This viral idea may not become a reality anytime soon, but it's kind of clear that more and more Indians abroad are thinking hard about how to balance their love for India with their desires for better lifestyle. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned to TimesXP for next episode.